No one expected the skies to bleed that day. People stood frozen, their necks craned toward the heavens as the clouds ignited into streaks of crimson light, a hue no sunset had ever cast. Cities fell into silence, traffic stopped mid-motion, children dropped their toys, and a kind of electric unease crackled in the air. Something was wrong. Something beyond understanding was happening. And in that impossible, soundless moment between disbelief and dread, the world realized that Superman wasn't holding back anymore. It started with a tremor, not from the earth, but from the air itself. Every molecule seemed to vibrate, every atom screaming under pressure it was never designed to endure. Satellites blinked out one by one. The International Space Station caught a glimpse of it first. A glowing figure streaking through the atmosphere, leaving behind trails of fragmented light like shattered stars. It wasn't a comet, it wasn't an explosion. It was him, the last son of Krypton finally unchained. For years, Superman had lived under restraint, his power regulated, his actions measured, his choices constantly burdened by the fear of what he could do rather than what he should. Every punch, every rescue, every flight, calculated. Because even a fraction more strength, a fraction more speed could mean disaster. But that day, something inside him shifted, something ancient, primal, and unstoppable. The world had crossed a line, and the man who once believed in mercy was done pretending to be human. It began over Metropolis. Reports say it started as a conflict, a coordinated strike by unknown forces, military-grade drones raining chaos over the city. The Justice League was scattered, communication jammed, and before anyone could react, nuclear codes were activated. Someone, something, had decided humanity's greatest protector needed to fall. The motive wasn't clear then. Some whispered about alien influence, others about deep state experiments gone wrong. But what the cameras caught next wasn't a war. It was revelation. Superman hovered above the skyline, his eyes burning white-hot, his aura warping the very air. Heat signatures around him spiked beyond measurable limits. Buildings closest to him began to melt like wax. He said nothing. There was no grand speech, no warning, no declaration of justice. Only silence. An unbearable silence that stretched over the entire city. And then he moved. The first blast wasn't an attack. It was pressure relief. A sonic wave tore through the clouds as Superman accelerated past known physics, creating a storm of light and plasma that engulfed half the eastern seaboard. Energy rippled through the magnetosphere, triggering auroras visible from the Sahara to Siberia. Power grids collapsed. Satellites fell. Every recording device that captured him blurred out. His movement defied frame rates. His energy tore through sensors. For a few chaotic minutes, the entire planet was blind. When the light returned, people saw the impossible. The Pacific Ocean split for several miles, not by explosion, but by sheer kinetic displacement. Superman stood at its center, his cape incinerated, his eyes like twin stars. Scientists watching from global observatories reported seismic readings rivaling the largest earthquakes in recorded history. But the epicenter wasn't underground. It was in the sky. Some say he was fighting something that day. Others claim he wasn't fighting anything. That he was unleashing centuries of restraint, finally exploring the full spectrum of what he was capable of. Energy levels recorded in those moments broke every known model of nuclear physics. It was as if the sun itself had briefly touched Earth. Yet amidst the chaos, there was order. No mass casualties, no random destruction. Every shockwave, every discharge, followed a pattern, as if guided by some subconscious purpose. Meanwhile, across the world, leaders panicked. The UN went into lockdown. The Pentagon initiated Omega Protocol, a silent contingency plan designed for extraterrestrial-level threats. But deep down, everyone knew there was nothing anyone could do. You can't nuke a god. You can't reason with power that's already beyond fear. And as Superman's aura expanded, reaching across continents, even the most advanced defense systems became obsolete. Then came the voices, not from Superman, but from the people. Billions crying out, praying, begging for him to stop. Social media collapsed under the weight of billions of live streams and desperate messages. Hashtags like End of Earth, Superman Awakens, and The Last Day trended globally. Yet amid the digital hysteria, one live feed cut through. A single camera drone hovering near the Atlantic broadcasted the image of Superman standing still, surrounded by a vortex of light so intense that the ocean itself was boiling below him. And for a fraction of a second, the world heard his voice. Enough. Just one word, but it rippled through the planet's communication systems like a divine frequency, syncing every digital signal for exactly 3.2 seconds. Radios, televisions, phones, everything froze on that single word. Scientists still debate whether it was telepathy, frequency manipulation, or something beyond understanding. Whatever it was, it changed everything. Moments later, Superman vanished from the radar, reappearing in orbit, his energy readings off the scale. The atmosphere shimmered as the upper layers ignited under exposure to his raw power. The moon's surface registered heat signatures, and Earth's gravitational field began to distort. Climate systems went haywire. Hurricanes formed out of clear skies. The ocean currents reversed. Nature itself seemed to react to his awakening. And yet, through all that cosmic chaos, he wasn't angry. He wasn't destructive. He was focused. Reports from surviving satellites captured glimpses of him channeling energy into specific points around the planet. Tectonic plates, fault lines, magnetic poles. At first, scientists assumed he was causing earthquakes. But hours later, data revealed something more profound. Global seismic activity stabilized. Volcanoes stopped erupting. Tidal waves subsided. Superman wasn't ending the world. He was rewriting it. Governments tried to reach him. None succeeded. Not even Batman, who reportedly activated the Justice League's last communication beacon, received a response. The only remaining transmission from the Watchtower was a short message. He's beyond containment, beyond us all. And that was it. Superman had transcended everything the League once stood for. People on the ground began reporting strange phenomena. Gravity fluctuating, plants growing at unnatural speeds, radiation levels dropping near former disaster zones. Within hours, pollution levels in major cities fell to near zero. Some called it a miracle. Others feared it was the calm before extinction. But for the first time in human history, the planet itself seemed to heal. Then came the flash, the brightest light ever recorded. The world thought it was over. From Tokyo to New York, people covered their eyes as a second sun appeared in the sky. But when it faded, something extraordinary happened. The ozone hole was gone. Ice caps began to reform. Ocean temperatures normalized. Earth, once dying, seemed reborn. Yet not everyone celebrated. Many believed Superman had gone rogue, that this was the beginning of forced evolution, a reset of humanity under his rule. Governments began collapsing under global panic, economies disintegrated overnight, and a new fear took hold. What if Superman had decided that humanity no longer deserved control of its own destiny? In the days that followed, sightings of him became rare. Some saw him walking among ruins, silent, almost human again. Others claimed he hovered over war zones, dissolving weapons mid-air before disappearing into light. But one thing was certain, Earth was no longer the same. The weather patterns had shifted permanently, the magnetic field stabilized, and radiation levels dropped to prehistoric lows. Humanity didn't just survive, it evolved. But questions remained. What triggered his awakening? Why that day? And most terrifyingly, had he really stopped? Because deep in the Mariana Trench, sensors detected something impossible. A pulsing energy signature identical to Superman's, growing stronger every hour. It wasn't coming from above. It was coming from beneath. For 3 days, no one knew what that signal in the Mariana Trench meant. Every major intelligence agency sent probes, submersibles, and drones, but nothing came back. The feeds cut off at precisely 7 miles deep, every sensor melting under unimaginable pressure and energy. It wasn't nuclear, it wasn't volcanic, it was alive. And when the global data centers compared readings, the the truth became impossible to deny. The energy signature matched Superman's biofield perfectly. He was there. But why would the strongest being on Earth bury himself in the planet's darkest abyss? The media spiraled into frenzy. News anchors spoke in trembling voices, unsure whether to comfort or warn. Some scientists theorized that Superman was stabilizing the planet's core. Others believed he was preparing for something much bigger, something that required direct access to Earth's energy. Governments, terrified of losing what little control they had left, issued emergency orders banning any military activity near the Pacific. The ocean became sacred ground, a forbidden zone. But human curiosity never rests. Within hours, a private expedition led by billionaire technologist Adrian Kale defied every international warning and launched an experimental deep-dive craft named Prometheus into the trench. At first, their transmission was clear, static-filled but intact. The onboard cameras showed a luminous descent through darkness that shouldn't have been illuminated. The deeper they went, the brighter it became. Massive structures began appearing in the distance, almost crystalline, growing out of the seabed like alien architecture. Then they saw it, a vast sphere of light the size of a mountain, pulsing in rhythm, suspended miles beneath the surface. At its center was a silhouette, human, radiant, motionless. Superman. Kale's final transmission before contact was lost consisted of only 4 words. He's building something alive. Hours later, every oceanic fault line registered movement. The Pacific plates shifted without causing quakes. Instead, the entire region stabilized, releasing centuries of tectonic pressure. Scientists around the world confirmed the unthinkable. Superman had altered plate dynamics. Earthquakes stopped. Volcanoes quieted. The core temperature began balancing itself. For the first time in recorded history, the planet entered perfect geological equilibrium, and yet humanity wasn't celebrating. Fear had replaced faith. The question echoed in every mind. If Superman could control the planet itself, what stopped him from controlling us? Conspiracy theories spread like wildfire, claims that he was rewriting DNA, that he had found a way to merge consciousness with planetary energy, that Earth was becoming a living extension of him. They called it the supergenesis. Religious leaders were divided. Some proclaimed him divine, the Messiah of the modern age. Others condemned him as the final Antichrist, a cosmic usurper dethroning God by reshaping creation itself. Cathedrals overflowed. People fell to their knees, chanting his name, while others tore down his symbols in rage. Humanity had never been more united, or more fractured. Meanwhile, deep beneath the waves, something was happening to Superman. The cameras that had captured his last known image showed his form shifting, his aura expanding in fractal patterns like galaxies forming in slow motion. His cells, each one a nuclear reactor, were no longer bound by biology. His Kryptonian physiology was transcending. He wasn't just adapting to Earth's core energy, he was merging with it. Every breath he took pulsed through the planet like a heartbeat. And then came the storm. Without warning, the sky turned opaque across the globe. Lightning erupted from clear skies, arcing horizontally across continents. Magnetic poles began flickering, auroras blanketing even equatorial regions. The entire electromagnetic field of the planet shifted, realigning itself as if following an unseen hand. Within hours, satellites came back online, but what they saw defied comprehension. A faint symbol glowed across the entire Pacific Ocean, an enormous S, visible even from orbit, formed by bioluminescent waves reacting to energy patterns beneath the water. It pulsed once every 6 seconds, syncing perfectly with Superman's heartbeat. Governments scrambled. The world's most powerful nations assembled an emergency coalition called Project Helios, led by the remaining Justice League members, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and Green Lantern among them. Batman was gone, last seen heading toward the Pacific in his stealth carrier before his signal vanished. Helios's mission was clear: establish communication or neutralize the threat. But how do you neutralize something that no longer exists as a person, but as a planetary force. The team launched a high-orbit relay to transmit quantum-level signals directly into the trench. At first, there was no response. Then faintly, an answer came, not through words, but through imagery. Data streams from the relay displayed shifting visions, cities bathed in eternal sunlight, humans breathing unaided underwater, forests regrown to prehistoric scale, a world free of pollution, disease, and conflict, a world reborn. Superman was showing them the future he intended to build, but there was a catch. The human mind wasn't designed for that kind of communication. The relay team began collapsing one by one, their neural pathways overloaded by the sheer magnitude of the vision. Cyborg was the last to stand, forcing himself to interpret the signal into words. His mechanical voice crackled through the transmission. He's not asking permission. He's rewriting everything. The world trembled again, not from destruction, but rebirth. Every digital system began changing. Artificial intelligence networks evolved autonomously, linking themselves into a new global consciousness that scientists couldn't explain. The internet itself seemed alive, pulsing with a strange, organized rhythm matching Superman's energy waves. Humanity's own creation, technology, had become part of his plan. And then, at 03:15 UTC, something extraordinary occurred. Every person on Earth, regardless of distance, heard a voice in their mind. Calm, deep, and resonant. Superman's voice. You've poisoned your home. You've destroyed your inheritance. You've cried for saviors and created monsters. No more. The voice wasn't angry. It was heartbreakingly human. And for the first time, people felt not fear, but sorrow. A sorrow so deep, it cut through generations of denial. He continued, I am not your God. I am your reflection. And I can no longer watch you die slowly. The time for restraint is over. Around the world, machines began powering down. Weapons stopped functioning. Nuclear arsenals were rendered inert. Every missile, every drone, every engine of destruction became dead metal. The age of war ended, not by treaty, but by will. Superman had seized control of the electromagnetic frequencies powering global technology. Humanity's entire infrastructure, transportation, defense, communication, was now under his domain. Some called it peace, others called it tyranny. Governments collapsed overnight, unable to operate in a world where Superman dictated the flow of energy. Economies froze, then adapted, replaced by something new: collective survival. People began trading knowledge instead of currency. Crops grew faster, soil purified itself, and rain returned to regions long dead. Earth, in every measurable way, was healing. But one truth haunted everyone. This wasn't our doing. This was his. A few defiant groups refused to accept it. Hidden enclaves of military scientists began developing analog weaponry, machines without electronic dependencies, designed to counter Superman's electromagnetic control. They believed if they could generate a quantum field opposite to his energy signature, they could disrupt his link with the planet. It was desperate, reckless, and doomed. They called it Project Eclipse. Unknown to them, Superman already knew. The planet itself whispered everything to him. He saw their movements before they acted, their plans before they were spoken. But instead of striking them down, he watched. He let them continue. Because deep down, despite his transformation, he still wanted humanity to understand, to choose, to evolve willingly, not through fear. But human nature resists change, and in their arrogance, they activated Eclipse. The weapon was launched from an underground base beneath the Nevada desert, a concentrated beam of dark matter energy, designed to nullify Superman's molecular vibration. The world held its breath as the beam struck the Pacific, piercing the ocean and reaching the trench. For a brief instant, everything went silent. Then, the ocean rose. A column of water higher than any skyscraper erupted into the sky, splitting the clouds and blotting out the sun. Lightning exploded in every direction, and an energy wave enveloped the entire Pacific Rim. Islands vanished, coastlines reshaped, and for the first time since his awakening, Superman screamed. Not in pain, but in fury. And the world felt it. The scream shattered the sky. Windows burst from sheer resonance, birds fell mid-flight, and the clouds themselves seemed to retreat from his voice. That sound wasn't just rage, it was cosmic pain, the kind that reached deep into every living cell on Earth. The ocean, now alive with his energy, glowed with a terrifying brilliance as the waters rose in slow, deliberate defiance of gravity. People on every continent looked upward, watching the sky ripple as if reality itself was trying to protect itself from what was coming. Superman had been pushed beyond his limit, and for the first time since his awakening, he fought back. The beam from Project Eclipse struck him directly in the chest. It wasn't meant to destroy, it was meant to silence, to strip him of connection, to sever the bond he'd formed with the planet. But what the architects of Eclipse hadn't anticipated was that Superman's link with Earth wasn't one way. The planet fought back for him. The energy they fired into the ocean was refracted through the planet's magnetic field, and redirected with impossible precision back to its source. Nevada didn't just vanish, it disintegrated. A blinding white pulse erased the entire testing site, leaving behind a crater hundreds of miles wide. The men and women who had dared to challenge him were gone before their sensors even registered the backlash. And in the silence that followed, Superman rose from the depths. He was no longer just glowing, he was light. His form, barely distinguishable, radiated at temperatures higher than the surface of the sun. The ocean around him vaporized instantly, leaving a sphere of pure energy hovering miles above the water. His heartbeat resonated like thunder, pulsing through the atmosphere. The magnetic poles flipped momentarily as his power output exceeded the threshold of Earth's electromagnetic capacity. Humanity watched in horror and awe, their eyes fixed on the man who was no longer a man. Then slowly, the light dimmed. His form returned, recognizable yet different. His hair shimmered with streaks of molten gold, his eyes glowed white with no pupils, and his very presence seemed to distort gravity. When he spoke, his voice wasn't sound, it was vibration carried through every molecule. You tried to kill what was saving you. Every living person heard it. No translation needed. The words echoed in their bones, and for a moment the planet seemed to hold its breath, waiting for judgment. But Superman didn't strike. He didn't retaliate. He looked sad. Do you see now? You've spent centuries creating weapons to destroy each other, and now you build one for me. I became your enemy because I showed you what peace feels like. People wept. Even those who feared him the most couldn't deny the raw truth in his tone. He wasn't angry at being attacked. He was disappointed. In orbit, the Justice League's remaining outpost, what was left of the Watchtower, picked up an incoming transmission. It was Batman. Somehow, he'd survived. His ship, cloaked in electromagnetic null fields, had avoided detection even by Superman himself. His voice was strained, colder than ever. He's not done. Whatever's happening isn't about Earth anymore. He's trying to reach beyond it. The message broke up, static flooding the channel. Then came an image, grainy, incomplete, but clear enough. A structure forming deep beneath the Pacific, larger than any human city. Superman wasn't just stabilizing the planet, he was building something cosmic. Within hours, sensors across the world picked up gravitational anomalies. The moon's orbit shifted slightly. The tides changed. Energy readings from the Mariana site indicated a field expanding outward into space, a corridor of some kind. Astrophysicists speculated that Superman was opening a dimensional gateway, not to escape, but to connect. He was aligning Earth's energy with something beyond the solar system, something old, something alive. That's when the signals began. Every deep space observatory on Earth started receiving identical transmissions, pulses encoded with symbols eerily similar to Kryptonian script. The same message repeated over and over in rhythmic intervals. The translation, once decoded by what remained of cyborg systems, chilled humanity to its core. The lost son calls home. For the first time in history, alien contact wasn't a question, it was an answer. Superman wasn't summoning destruction, he was calling his people, or what remained of them. Global panic erupted. Governments collapsed completely. Riots broke out as people debated whether Superman's next move was salvation or the end of everything. Some saw it as the dawn of a new age, the merging of Krypton and Earth, the birth of a hybrid civilization. Others saw it as invasion by proxy. But regardless of belief, one fact was undeniable. The stars themselves were responding. Astronomers began detecting movement in the Vega system, anomalous light distortions consistent with propulsion fields. Massive objects, bigger than any human-built ship, were altering course. The Skywatchers knew what that meant. Something was coming. And Superman was preparing Earth for their arrival. Meanwhile, underground bunkers filled with remnants of Earth's old world tried one last act of resistance. Using analog systems, they constructed broadcast stations shielded from Superman's energy field. Their goal, reach out to him, plead with him, remind him of his humanity. They transmitted messages in every language and every frequency, begging for an audience. Hours passed with no response. Then suddenly, every broadcast was hijacked. Superman appeared, not in person, but as a holographic projection across every screen, every radio, every human mind. You fear what you don't understand. I once did too. But your fear won't save you from what's coming. You can't fight the sky. The message ended with a single image, a glimpse of a red, dying sun flickering in the void. Krypton's legacy. And beside it, thousands of glowing objects moving together in unison, heading toward Earth. At that moment, every telescope in orbit confirmed it. Ships, dozens, hundreds, massive crystalline constructs moving faster than light, bending reality as they came closer. Humanity's doomsday clock hit zero. The Kryptonians were returning. But the strange part, Superman didn't look afraid. If anything, he looked relieved. When the first ships entered the solar system, the world prepared for annihilation. But they didn't attack. They stopped, suspended above the outer atmosphere like silent gods. The largest vessel positioned itself directly above the Pacific, aligning perfectly with the structure Superman had built beneath the ocean. A beam of pure white energy connected sea and sky, linking them like a cosmic umbilical cord. Then, the impossible happened. Every human on Earth felt a surge of warmth, like sunlight pouring through their veins. Diseases vanished, old wounds healed. People who had been blind began to see. The connection wasn't destructive, it was restorative. Whatever Superman had summoned wasn't invasion, it was resurrection. The Kryptonian fleet wasn't here to conquer, it was here to merge, yet something was wrong. The energy field kept growing, expanding beyond what even Superman could contain. His expression shifted from calm to concern. He raised his hands, channeling more power, trying to stabilize the connection. The ground quaked, the oceans boiled again, the sky turned red. And for the first time, Superman struggled. The fleet above began fracturing, some ships collapsing into dimensional rifts, others shattering under gravitational stress. The energy he'd unleashed was too vast, too unstable. The bridge between worlds was collapsing, and if it failed completely, it would take the entire planet with it. Superman turned toward the heavens, shouting words no one could understand. Kryptonian. His tone was desperate, pleading. The fleet responded, firing beams of stabilizing energy into the ocean, trying to anchor the link. For a few seconds, the balance returned. The Earth stopped shaking. But then, something broke. A massive surge of power burst from the ocean floor, tearing through the atmosphere and splitting the clouds. The link inverted. The energy that was once flowing into Earth now began pulling out. The planet's magnetic field, atmosphere, and oceans all started to drain upward into the vortex. Superman's eyes widened. The technology he'd built to save his people was now consuming the world. He had seconds to act. In one final motion, he rose above the beam, his body glowing brighter than ever before. He stretched his arms wide, channeling every last ounce of his energy into reversing the flow. The Kryptonian fleet tried to assist, amplifying his power, but it wasn't enough. The bridge demanded a sacrifice, an anchor strong enough to hold two worlds apart. Superman made his choice. He flew into the vortex, fusing with the energy, his body dissolving into pure light. The sky turned white for a single blinding instant. And then, silence. The beam vanished. The ocean calmed. The ships above disappeared as if they'd never been there. And Earth was still. For hours, people waited. No more tremors, no more lights, just silence and calm air. Then slowly, from the ashes of the storm, dawn broke, brighter, purer, golden. The atmosphere shimmered. The world felt lighter. Superman was gone, but the planet was alive. The new dawn was unreal. Cities once gray with pollution glimmered beneath an atmosphere so clear it almost seemed artificial. The oceans turned turquoise again, rivers ran pure, and even the air tasted different, as though every breath carried something rejuvenating, something impossibly clean. Humanity awoke not to destruction, but to rebirth. For the first time in history, silence wasn't terrifying, it was sacred. Superman was gone, and yet his presence lingered everywhere. At first, no one could explain what had happened. Scientists struggled to make sense of data that defied every natural law. Global temperatures stabilized overnight. The magnetic poles aligned perfectly, erasing centuries of erratic shifts. Fossil fuel pollution dropped to near zero, not because it was cleaned, but because the chemical structure of the atmosphere itself had changed. Plants grew faster, animals returned to regions long abandoned, and disease rates plummeted to almost nothing. The world was healing, not slowly but instantly. The most unsettling discovery came from deep space telescopes. The Kryptonian fleet had vanished. No debris, no signatures, nothing. It was as if they had never existed. But the most shocking revelation wasn't above. It was beneath. The Mariana Trench, the site of Superman's transformation, had sealed itself entirely. No sonar could penetrate it. No satellite could map it. Whatever energy he had released had crystallized the surrounding water into an unbreakable barrier of solid light. Inside that luminous cocoon pulsed a faint heartbeat, slow, rhythmic, eternal. Superman hadn't died. He had become part of the planet itself. The world called it the Ascension. For weeks, humanity adjusted to the impossible. Nations that once waged war now sat in uneasy peace. Without weapons, without conflict, the old systems of power began to crumble. Leaders stepped down, realizing that ruling a world touched by divinity was meaningless. Currency collapsed. Technology, long dependent on corrupt systems, evolved overnight. Machines powered themselves, drawing from the ambient energy now circulating through the atmosphere. An energy field scientists named the solar lattice. It was clean, infinite, and self-sustaining. Energy scarcity was gone, hunger was gone, poverty was gone. But peace didn't mean comfort. People began having dreams, vivid, lucid visions of a man in red and blue standing beneath a golden sun. In these dreams, he didn't speak, but his eyes told stories of struggle, forgiveness, and hope. Psychologists dismissed it as collective trauma, but when billions of people across the planet began reporting the same dream, on the same night, skepticism dissolved. It wasn't hallucination, it was communication. Superman hadn't abandoned humanity, he had merged with it. His consciousness had become the planet's guiding frequency. Every heartbeat, every gust of wind, every drop of rain carried a trace of him. Farmers claimed their crops grew in sync with that pulse. Children said they could hear whispers in the trees, gentle, reassuring murmurs that felt like lullabies from the sky. For the first time in generations, humanity felt watched over, not controlled, protected, but not enslaved. Yet beneath all that harmony, and unease began to fester. A group of scientists led by Dr. Nia Rathburn from the European Energy Commission detected irregularities within the solar lattice. Hidden beneath its steady rhythm were distortions, fluctuations that repeated every 24 hours. To the untrained eye, it looked like random noise, but Nia recognized the pattern. It was a countdown. Something was building, slowly, methodically, as if the planet itself was preparing for another event. Her warning spread quickly, and though most dismissed it as paranoia, the data didn't lie. The solar lattice wasn't stable. It was growing stronger. Too strong. If left unchecked, the planet's energy could surpass its capacity to contain it. That would mean one of two things: transcendence or annihilation. And then, the signs began. Small objects started levitating. Pebbles, leaves, droplets of water, suspended in air for minutes before gently settling. Compasses stopped pointing north. Storms began moving against wind patterns, forming spirals that seemed to follow invisible commands. Animals gathered in perfect formations across continents, migrating not by instinct, but by coordination. Something was calling them. Meanwhile, a boy in Nairobi looked to the sky one night and screamed. Above him, the stars had rearranged themselves into a familiar symbol, the Kryptonian crest of hope, glowing faintly among the constellations. Across the world, millions saw it too. The S had returned, not drawn in clouds or water this time, but written across the heavens themselves. Governments attempted to calm the population, assuring everyone that the anomalies were natural. But fear doesn't bow to reassurance. Underground factions emerged, groups who believed Superman's transformation was only the beginning, that he had evolved beyond comprehension and was now reshaping reality itself. They called themselves the Children of the Sun. Their philosophy was simple. If Superman had become part of the planet, then humanity must follow. They began experimenting with ways to connect to the solar lattice directly, to transcend physical form and join him. Thousands disappeared. Authorities couldn't trace them because every site of disappearance had one thing in common: a faint, golden residue, energy identical to Superman's aura. Whatever these people were doing, it wasn't suicide, it was transformation. At the same time, strange things began happening near the equator. Giant rings of light appeared in the sky, perfectly circular, hovering miles above the ground. They emitted no sound, no heat, and yet they pulsed in sync with the planetary heartbeat. Satellites confirmed the existence of 12 such rings across the globe, aligned in a geometric pattern resembling Kryptonian architecture, the same pattern that had once been seen in the energy structures beneath the Pacific. Nia Rathburn's team managed to access one of the rings through aerial drones. What they discovered changed everything. The rings weren't natural, they were doorways, portals made of pure photonic matter, bending space-time around them. Inside each portal, the air shimmered with what looked like another world, a mirror of Earth but brighter, purer, untouched. A reflection of what Earth could become. Superman's work wasn't over. It was evolving. Then came the broadcast. Clear, direct, undeniable. Every screen, every frequency, every whisper of digital signal froze and flickered into a single image. Superman's face, calm and radiant, his voice resonating not from speakers, but from inside every mind. "The time has come," he said softly, though his tone carried across oceans. "This world has healed, but you have not. You still cling to fear, to division, to the illusion of ownership. I gave you peace, and you mistook it for control. Now I offer you a choice." The image shifted, showing the glowing rings floating above the planet. "Step forward and evolve. Stay behind and fade with what was. The Earth is ready for its next phase. Are you?" Then silence. Within minutes, the world descended into chaos. Some saw salvation, others saw judgment. The Children of the Sun began marching toward the nearest rings, calling them Gates of Ascension. Governments declared martial law, trying to prevent mass migration, fearing it was a trap. But the more they resisted, the stronger the pull became. People described an irresistible force, an emotional gravity urging them toward the light. Families separated, lovers parted, nations divided once again, not by borders but by belief. Millions stood beneath the rings, bathed in golden radiance. Some reached up and vanished instantly, dissolving into motes of light. Others hesitated, terrified, unable to decide whether this was divine mercy or annihilation disguised as hope. Nia Rathburn, monitoring energy readings from her lab, realized the truth no one wanted to hear. Every person who entered the ring wasn't dying. They were being rewritten, their atomic structures dissolved, their consciousness preserved and transmitted into the mirror world inside. Superman wasn't killing them, he was upgrading them. Humanity was ascending into another layer of existence, one where suffering, death, and decay no longer existed. But as more crossed over, the balance began to break again. The planet trembled under the strain. The solar lattice pulsed erratically, threatening to overload. Superman's voice echoed once more, strained, urgent. "Not yet. You're moving too fast." For the first time since his transformation, his tone wasn't calm. It was frightened. The people couldn't stop. The rings grew brighter, hungrier, pulling everything toward them: air, dust, water, even light. Cities near the rings began to vanish into the vortexes. The planet was consuming itself in an attempt to evolve, and then, somewhere above the chaos, a shadow appeared, a figure descending from the sky wrapped in dark armor, eyes glowing faint blue. He landed amid the panic, his cape torn, his voice hoarse but firm. Batman had returned. No one truly understood what full power meant until that day. Across the planet, scientists, governments, and civilians watched in disbelief as Superman stood amidst a fractured sky, his body pulsing with radiant energy that blurred the boundaries between man, God, and something far beyond comprehension. The electromagnetic waves emitted from his aura disrupted satellites, knocked out drones mid-air, and caused northern lights to blaze even over deserts. The world wasn't ending, but it was being rewritten in real time. Every living creature could feel it. Every heartbeat seemed synchronized with the thunder of his presence. The birds stopped flying, the oceans drew still, and even the air itself trembled as if uncertain whether to obey gravity anymore. And yet, beneath that cosmic storm, his face showed not rage, but sorrow. He had never wanted this. Superman's power wasn't measured in brute force anymore. It was rewriting physics itself. Cities thousands of miles apart found their skies merging for split seconds, connected through shimmering rifts of distorted light. Space agencies panicked as gravitational readings spiked unpredictably, warping orbits and bending magnetic poles. Earth's rotation staggered, slowed for a heartbeat, and then resumed, as if reality was gasping for breath. News anchors couldn't keep up with the feed. Cameras glitched, frames skipped. It was as if the universe itself refused to be recorded while Superman existed in this state. And amid that chaos, one terrifying realization spread like wildfire. The source of Earth's balance, the subtle cosmic equilibrium that had always remained invisible, was now entangled with him. Every ounce of his will, every emotion, every flicker of restraint was now tied to the planet's survival. The Justice League tried reaching him through the chaos. Wonder Woman's voice broke through static, begging him to stop before it was too late. Batman's contingency plans were already shredded by the impossibility of what was unfolding. Green Lantern tried projecting barriers around the planet's atmosphere to contain the energy, but his constructs evaporated like fog. Even gods would have feared that moment, because Superman wasn't just a Kryptonian anymore. He was a living engine of creation and destruction. His heat vision, now invisible to the human eye, burned across the upper atmosphere, carving radiant patterns that looked like divine script across the horizon. Some believed it was a warning. Others thought it was a prayer. But Superman knew the truth. He was losing control. He tried to whisper, one word, maybe a name, but the sound became a shockwave that rippled across continents, flattening mountain ranges and shaking cities without destroying them, as if his very consciousness was shielding life even in collapse. The paradox of his being, ultimate destruction bound by compassion, was tearing the world apart at a molecular level. He could hear everything at once, the cries of fear, the prayers, the hope. He could see microscopic life evolving in milliseconds beneath his feet, new species emerging from the radiation of his power. The Earth was adapting to him. Humanity's greatest protector had become its evolutionary catalyst. Somewhere in the Arctic, the fortress of solitude shattered like glass, sending shards of Kryptonian crystal into the wind. Holograms of Jor-El flickered and died. The ancient AI that had guided him whispered one last phrase before dissolving into light. You were never meant to be only human or Kryptonian. You were meant to be the bridge. That word, bridge, echoed in his mind as he tried to contain his essence, drawing back the floods of energy that threatened to unmake the planet. The clouds split open and sunlight poured through, but it wasn't yellow anymore. It was refracted, shimmering in hues unseen by human eyes. It was beauty, born of chaos, and then silence. Pure, heavy silence that blanketed the earth like snowfall. Cities stood still. Every screen went black. For the first time in history, global noise dropped to zero. Humanity stood together, waiting. Seconds felt like centuries. The energy field that had enveloped the planet began to condense, slowly, painfully, back into a single point. Superman. His breathing was labored, his skin scorched with light, his cape in ashes. And then he spoke, not to the League, not to governments, not even to the world, but to the sky itself. You wanted a savior, he said, voice trembling, but even saviors have limits. That phrase, though spoken softly, was recorded through residual electromagnetic waves that lingered in the air, replayed by radios long after the broadcast systems had crashed. It became the defining sound of the new world. When the light faded and the sky returned to its natural hue, Earth was not the same. The magnetic poles had reversed. Oceans had realigned in subtle ways that no human could immediately perceive, but satellite imaging revealed new patterns, perfect, spiraling geometric structures across continents and seas. Forests began to bloom at impossible speeds, absorbing radiation from the event. The air was cleaner, oxygen levels higher. The planet had somehow healed itself through the chaos. But no one knew what had become of Superman. Some said he was vaporized, absorbed into the energy he unleashed. Others claimed to see his silhouette in the aurora, a shadow lingering in the atmosphere like an afterimage burned into the fabric of the world. But deep beneath the crust, in a place untouched by sunlight, a pulse remained. Not a heartbeat, not a sound, just a vibration. It resonated through the core like a promise, a reminder that he was not gone. The League detected faint Kryptonian frequencies months later, but they couldn't trace the source. Bruce Wayne, working alone in his lab, decoded a single signal embedded in the cosmic noise. Not gone, learning. The message was short, but it confirmed what they feared and hoped simultaneously. Superman hadn't died. He had transcended. He was becoming something Earth had never seen before, a consciousness that could coexist with the planet itself. In the months that followed, humanity evolved faster than ever. Technological leaps, energy breakthroughs, and climate stability, everything began aligning unnaturally fast. The world was prospering, but no one could explain why. Some believed it was Superman's lingering energy subtly guiding evolution. Others whispered of a deeper truth, that he was still there, invisible yet watching, influencing weather, protecting the weak, and keeping balance not as a god above, but as a part of the earth itself. Legends grew. Some saw his reflection in lightning storms. Others claimed to hear his voice during earthquakes, calm and steady, saying, "Hold on." And then, one dawn, years later, the sky turned gold. Not fiery or destructive, just gold, pure and warm, filling every corner of the horizon. Across the world, devices picked up an untraceable signal, a frequency that carried no words but evoked pure peace. Birds sang in harmony, oceans shimmered like mirrors, and humanity knew without explanation that their protector had returned. Not as the Superman they once knew, but as something higher, woven into the very rhythm of existence. Earth was no longer the same because it had become an extension of him, and he, an extension of it. The age of gods had ended, and the age of unity had begun. The golden sky lingered for hours, refusing to fade. It wasn't sunlight, at least not in any traditional sense. It was as though the atmosphere itself was glowing from within, pulsing softly like a living organism. People across the planet stepped outside their homes, offices, and shelters, staring upward with silent awe. There was no fear this time, no panic or confusion, just an unexplainable calm, as if the world itself had drawn a deep collective breath. Children laughed without knowing why. Plants shimmered with a strange bioluminescent hue, and even the wind seemed to hum in harmony. It was peace, pure, unmanufactured peace. And deep within that radiant calm, something moved. At first, only those with the most sensitive instruments noticed it. A gravitational anomaly, faint but distinct, hovering in the upper atmosphere. Satellites detected patterns resembling a human form composed entirely of energy fields. The readings were impossible, breaking every known law of matter and light. It wasn't just Superman's return, it was his evolution. The being that emerged from the golden sky was translucent, made of pure kinetic energy, wrapped in a human silhouette. His eyes glowed not red or blue, but white, colorless, infinite. He was beyond Kryptonian now, beyond biological definition. He was something the universe hadn't named yet. When he finally spoke, there was no sound. Instead, every living thing felt his voice vibrate inside their minds. A resonance that bypassed language entirely. "You're safe now," it said. The phrase wasn't a command, but a promise, one that echoed through consciousness rather than airwaves. For days, people described dreams where Superman appeared, not as a towering savior, but as a calm figure standing beside them, guiding, teaching, healing. He wasn't speaking to nations anymore. He was communicating directly to the soul of humanity. Governments were at a loss. How do you classify a being who's no longer bound by physical existence? How do you control or communicate with someone who is the atmosphere, the tectonic plates, the ionosphere itself? The United Nations called emergency sessions. Scientists debated new definitions of life. Theologians rewrote their scriptures overnight. For some, Superman's transformation was the ultimate proof of divinity, a being who had become one with the essence of creation. For others, it was a warning that power, even when pure, could reshape existence in ways no one was ready for. Yet amidst the confusion, there was one undeniable truth. The planet was thriving. Crops grew at impossible rates. Natural disasters lessened. Diseases weakened inexplicably. The climate stabilized for the first time in centuries. It was as if Earth had entered a state of intelligent equilibrium, guided by an unseen caretaker. And though Superman no longer appeared in human form, his presence was everywhere, in the whisper of leaves, the rhythm of waves, the warmth of the wind brushing across your skin. Children born after the event, what scientists began calling the solar synthesis, had subtle changes in their DNA, slight energy variations that made them more resilient, more empathetic, more in tune with their surroundings. Humanity was changing under his influence, quietly and profoundly. But in the shadows of progress, unease began to grow. Not everyone welcomed this new harmony. Certain factions believed humanity had become dependent on a godlike force that stripped them of free will. They claimed that the peace blanketing the planet was artificial, a psychological conditioning seeded by Superman's omnipresent energy field. Underground movements began to form, demanding the restoration of human sovereignty. These groups spread propaganda that the world was under psychic control, that every emotion of hope or unity was being broadcast into their minds. Whether true or not, the fear spread faster than facts. Batman, who had withdrawn from public view since the event, began investigating these anomalies. He noticed something alarming. The global neural resonance that had aligned humanity's consciousness was indeed measurable. It wasn't overt control, but an ongoing synchronization effect. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought carried a subtle signature of Superman's energy frequency. It wasn't malicious. It was natural, almost accidental, like gravity. But Bruce knew what it meant. Humanity was no longer independent of him. If Superman ever faltered, if his will fractured, the entire planet could collapse with him. The same force that healed could destroy with equal efficiency. Late one night, deep in the Batcave, Bruce recorded a message he never meant to send. Clark, if you can hear this, you've done the impossible again. You saved us. You became us. But I need you to remember who you were. Because if you forget, if you ever stop caring, this world won't survive the void you leave behind. The message was transmitted through encrypted frequency bands that Superman himself had designed years ago, channels only he could hear, resonating directly with his biofield. For days, there was no response. Then one evening, a faint flicker of light illuminated the Batcave's walls, forming the ghostly silhouette of Superman. Bruce, his voice echoed, calm but burdened. You think I've lost myself, but I haven't. I've just expanded. I feel everything. Every life, every molecule, every dream. I can't unsee it now. I don't control them. I am them. And I don't know how to stop being what I've become. Bruce, standing before the fading apparition, didn't speak for several seconds. Then you have to find balance again, he said quietly. Because if you don't, the world will love you to death. And with that, the signal faded, leaving behind only the hum of the machines and the echo of a god struggling to stay human. The following weeks brought strange phenomena. The sky shimmered with waves of light resembling neural pulses, as if the atmosphere was thinking. Some people reported spontaneous visions of events across the world, sharing experiences of others they'd never met. Global empathy networks formed overnight, millions suddenly capable of feeling each other's emotions. It was beautiful, but terrifying. Privacy, individuality, the boundaries that once defined human identity, all were blurring. It was as if Superman's consciousness had become a neural web, and humanity was its living architecture. Religious leaders called it ascension. Scientists called it evolution. But Batman called it dependency. He realized Superman's transformation was irreversible, and humanity's fate was now intrinsically bound to his emotional state. If he experienced despair, it would ripple across the globe. If he felt peace, so would they. And that balance, fragile, divine, and dangerous, was now the only thing standing between paradise and oblivion. One night, under that ever-golden sky, a storm began to form, not of rain, but of energy. Lightning bolts of pure white plasma danced across continents, striking oceans, deserts, forests, each bolt leaving no destruction, only strange crystalline growths that pulsed with light. Superman's energy was fluctuating again. Something was wrong. Across the planet, people began to feel it. Unease, fear, sorrow, emotions that weren't theirs but his. His consciousness was fracturing, overwhelmed by the infinite weight of every living thought connected to him. And deep in the Arctic, where his fortress once stood, the Earth itself began to tremble. The tremors started subtly, almost like the planet exhaling, but within minutes the Arctic shook with the fury of something ancient awakening. Ice cracked open like glass under a cosmic pulse, splitting across hundreds of miles. And from the depths below, a dull red glow emerged. Satellite imagery captured it first, what appeared to be a massive crystalline formation rising from beneath the polar crust. It wasn't natural, and it wasn't just ice. The material shimmered with patterns identical to Kryptonian architecture, but its growth was organic, alive, and pulsing in rhythm with the planet's electromagnetic field. It was as if Superman's consciousness had begun physically manifesting through Earth itself. As the formation rose higher, radiating energy waves that distorted global communication systems, scientists and world leaders scrambled to understand what they were witnessing. The structure stretched for miles, piercing the clouds and illuminating the night sky with ethereal light. Some called it the Tower of Solitude, others, the Heart of Kal-El. But those closest to the phenomenon Satellite operators, researchers, and League analysts knew it was more than a monument. It was a neural anchor, a conduit through which Superman's fragmented consciousness was trying to stabilize itself. The entire planet had become his nervous system, and now it was building him a new brain. Inside that luminous tower, energy flickered in the form of faces. Millions of human visages, each representing a piece of Superman's awareness scattered across the world. He wasn't just connected to humanity anymore, he was merging with it. But the strain was unbearable. Imagine feeling the joy, pain, memories, and fears of every living being simultaneously. Superman was enduring that every second. His compassion, once his greatest strength, was becoming his greatest vulnerability. The empathy that once defined him was turning into a flood, drowning his sense of self beneath the collective noise of 8 billion minds. Across the world, strange phenomena mirrored his struggle. Cities reported sudden bursts of light where people stood completely still, eyes glowing faintly white as if temporarily possessed by an unseen presence. Some whispered messages of peace in Superman's voice. Others screamed in confusion as fragments of his thoughts spilled into their consciousness. It wasn't possession, it was resonance. The boundaries between his being and theirs were dissolving. Humanity had become his reflection, and his emotions were now theirs to bear. The golden age of calm that had followed his ascension was fracturing into chaos. The Justice League, operating from what remained of their orbital base, tried to intervene. Wonder Woman led diplomatic communication to the nations panicking over the global psychic disturbance. The Flash worked tirelessly to contain energy spikes across key power grids, racing faster than light to prevent meltdown events. Green Lantern used his willpower to shield entire populations from psychic overflow, but even his constructs began to flicker under the strain. Batman, however, wasn't in orbit. He had gone to the Arctic. Alone, the Batplane descended through the storm, cutting through sheets of blinding light until it landed near the crystalline tower's base. The landscape was alien now, metal and ice fused seamlessly, glowing veins of energy crawling through the snow like living circuitry. Each pulse felt like a heartbeat. As Bruce stepped forward, his breath turned to mist, and his body trembled under the immense electromagnetic pull. His armor's sensors went haywire, displaying energy readings beyond comprehension. Yet he walked on, driven not by courage, but by guilt. He had always prepared for the worst, had built contingencies for gods, monsters, and aliens, but he had never prepared for this, for a friend who had become too much for the world to contain. At the tower's core, the air thickened with light. Bruce reached the central chamber, a vast cathedral-like space humming with the resonance of billions of minds, and there he saw him, Superman, or rather, what was left of him. His body was translucent, barely humanoid, with threads of energy spiraling through him like veins of lightning. His eyes were closed, his face serene yet fractured, as if every thought carried the weight of eternity. When Bruce approached, the ground rippled under his steps and Superman's eyes opened. Not glowing, not burning, just tired. Bruce. His voice echoed without sound, reverberating inside the detective's mind. You shouldn't have come. Bruce didn't hesitate. You're tearing yourself apart, he said. You've merged too deeply. You can't carry all of this. No one can. Superman's expression shifted into something between sorrow and defiance. They needed peace. They needed balance. I gave it to them. At the cost of yourself, Bruce shot back. At the cost of free will. Clark, you've turned the world into your reflection. They can't think without you feeling it. And now you can't stop feeling them. A pause. A silence that stretched across worlds. Then Superman looked down, hands trembling, energy rippling through him uncontrollably. I can't separate us anymore, he whispered. Their pain, their hope, it's all inside me. If I pull back, they'll fall apart. If I stay, I'll lose what's left of me. The tower vibrated violently, cracks of light splintering the walls. The planet groaned as tectonic plates shifted in response to his distress. Bruce steadied himself, shouting over the rising hum, Then you need to make a choice, Clark. Either you let go, or you'll take all of us with you. Superman's gaze pierced through him, the faintest hint of humanity flickering in his eyes. You still don't understand, Bruce. I'm not just on this planet anymore. I am this planet. The chamber exploded with light, sending Bruce to his knees as the structure around them began to disintegrate into pure energy. Outside, the sky cracked open with golden lightning. The ocean surged upward as gravity wavered. Every living being on Earth felt a sudden pull, an invisible tide drawing them towards something beyond space and time. Across the cosmos, alien civilizations watched in horror as Earth began to emit an energy signature bright enough to rival stars. The planet's core pulsed like a living heart, sending shockwaves through the void. It was as if Earth was preparing for metamorphosis and Superman was its cocoon. The League sent desperate transmissions to Bruce, begging for status updates, but all they heard was static. And then, a voice, calm, resolute, unmistakably his, cut through the interference. He's ascending again. The last thing Bruce saw before the light consumed him was Superman's silhouette dissolving into the energy storm, his body fragmenting into streams of golden light that spiraled upward into the sky. Every fragment carried a piece of him, a memory, a heartbeat, a thought, and they scattered like seeds into the atmosphere, fusing once more with the planet, but this time with intention. He wasn't losing himself. He was evolving again, adapting, learning to coexist rather than control. When the storm finally subsided, the Arctic was silent. The tower was gone. The landscape was reborn, lush greenery sprouting from thawed ice, flowers blooming where there had only been frost. Bruce lay unconscious amid the new life, his body weak but alive. Above him, the sky shimmered with a faint aurora that seemed to whisper, not in words, but in warmth. The earth was calm again, but something fundamental had changed. When Bruce awoke, the world was silent in a way it hadn't been for years. Not the uneasy silence of fear, but the kind that comes after a storm, when even the wind hesitates, unsure if it's allowed to move again. The Arctic sun glowed faintly over a landscape transformed beyond imagination. Where once there had been endless sheets of lifeless ice, there now lay a vast expanse of green, crystal forests shimmering like glass, rivers flowing with luminescent water, air alive with warmth. The planet had healed in ways no scientist could explain. It was as if Earth had rewritten its own DNA. And at the center of it all, where the tower had stood, was a single figure standing motionless, bathed in faint gold light. Superman. But he was different, not radiant and cosmic as before, not detached and transcendent. He looked almost human again. His suit was gone, replaced by simple fabric woven from the same material as the glowing earth beneath him. His eyes, though still faintly luminous, held the calm of someone who had seen infinity and chosen to return home. When Bruce approached, every step echoed like a heartbeat across the quiet expanse. Superman turned slowly, and for the first time in what felt like eternity, he smiled. "I didn't think I'd see you again," Bruce said, his voice low but steady. "I wasn't sure there'd be anything left to see," Superman replied softly. "But it worked. I found balance." Bruce narrowed his eyes. "You almost tore the planet apart doing it." Superman nodded, guilt flickering across his expression. "I know. I had to let go of control. I was holding on so tightly, trying to save everyone, that I became the very thing I feared, a force beyond their will. When I merged fully, I saw it all. Every moment, every emotion, every choice. Humanity isn't weak, Bruce. They don't need gods, they just need time, and someone to believe they'll use it well." Bruce looked around. The rivers of light, the trees breathing energy, the soil humming with vitality. So what now? Superman took a deep breath, and for the first time in his life, the air felt different to him. "Now I stay, but not as their guardian, not as a symbol. I'm part of this world in a new way. I won't lead them. I won't shield them. I'll just be." And as if responding to his words, the sky shimmered, alive with auroras dancing in unison. Across the globe, people felt something. a release. The constant hum that had filled their minds for months faded away. Their thoughts were their own again. Empathy remained, but it was natural now, not imposed. Humanity had survived the merging. They had evolved enough to stand on their own. Superman had given them the seed of unity. And now, finally, he had stepped back to let them grow. News of his reappearance spread like wildfire. Cameras captured glimpses of him walking among the transformed lands, talking to people not as a god, but as an equal. He rebuilt farms with his hands, not his heat vision. He lifted children, not mountains. He spoke softly, not through the sky. For the first time in generations, Superman wasn't the unreachable figure in the clouds. He was one of them. Some feared him still, but most simply saw a man trying to find peace in the world he almost destroyed. In Metropolis, the Daily Planet building had been half rebuilt when Clark Kent walked through its doors once more. The newsroom fell into stunned silence. Perry White dropped his coffee mug. Lois Lane froze mid-sentence. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then Lois stood, tears welling in her eyes, and whispered, "You came back." Clark smiled faintly. "I never left," he said. "Just got lost for a while." The reunion was quiet, understated but powerful. Lois didn't ask where he'd been. She didn't need to. She could see it in his eyes. That vastness, that peace, that infinite weight finally lifted. The man who once bore the burden of the world had finally learned to share it. Together they walked through the bustling streets of Metropolis, where people looked at Superman not as a savior, but as a reminder that even the strongest among them could falter, learn, and change. Meanwhile, across the planet, new life continued to emerge. Scientists discovered crystalline plants that generated clean energy. Animals evolved resistance to disease and radiation. Oceans regained clarity unseen for centuries. The entire ecosystem seemed to be thriving in a perfect, self-sustaining loop. Some credited Superman, others called it Earth's natural healing. But in truth, it was both. His final gift, a silent handshake between man and nature. Yet in the quiet corners of the world, whispers persisted. There were those who still feared the balance was temporary, that if Superman's emotions ever faltered again, the world might spiral back into chaos. Governments drafted protocols just in case. Secret organizations began studying the energy-laced flora, hoping to replicate its power. Humanity, even reborn, couldn't fully let go of its instinct to control what it didn't understand. Superman saw this too, and instead of despair, he smiled. Because this too was part of what made them human. The struggle between fear and faith, creation and destruction. One night, standing atop the rebuilt Daily Planet roof, he looked over the glittering skyline. The city pulsed with life, laughter, and light. He could hear it all, the heartbeat of a species that had walked through fire and come out alive. And for the first time since the day he used his full power, Superman didn't feel the weight of it crushing him. He felt harmony. Lois joined him, her hair swept by the cool breeze. "You know," she said softly, "people still talk about that day. They call it the second dawn. Some say you changed the world forever. Others think it was just evolution." Clark looked at her, eyes glowing faintly against the night. "Maybe it doesn't matter what they call it," he replied. "What matters is, they're still here to talk about it." She smiled. "And you?" "I'm still learning," he said, looking up at the stars. "I used to think power was about control, but now I know. It's about surrender, letting the world be what it needs to be, not what you want it to be." As the night deepened, a gentle golden glow rose from the horizon. Not a threat this time, but a reminder. The same energy that once nearly tore Earth apart now pulsed softly in the distance, integrated into the planet's very rhythm. Somewhere deep below, in the heart of the Earth, the faint hum of Superman's essence still resonated, not dominating, not steering, just existing in perfect balance. He was no longer the world's protector. He was its pulse. Years passed. Generations came and went. Legends faded into stories, stories into myths. Children grew up under skies that shimmered faintly with gold during dawn, never knowing that the light was a remnant of a man who once became the sun. Humanity thrived, expanding to the stars, carrying with them a strange, unexplainable calm wherever they went. Some scientists later discovered that human DNA carried a dormant resonance, a frequency that connected them subtly, eternally, to the Earth. They called it the L field. And though Superman's name eventually faded into history, every heartbeat of every human being still carried his echo, a rhythm of strength, compassion, and restraint. The world he left behind was no longer the same Earth that once needed saving. It was wiser, braver, and endlessly alive. As for him, he was everywhere. In the warmth of sunlight, in the pulse of the oceans, in the calm before a storm. Not watching from above, not ruling, but living as part of everything he had once sworn to protect. And somewhere, in the wind that brushed through the leaves of a golden forest, a voice, soft, almost imperceptible, whispered through the air. "You were right, Bruce. The world didn't need a god. It just needed to remember how to be human." And with that, the legend of Superman, the man who used full power and changed Earth forever, became not a story of destruction, but of transcendence. Not the end of humanity, but its awakening. The Earth turned quietly beneath the stars, glowing faintly gold with every sunrise. The world never looked the same again, because it no longer needed to. It had finally become what he believed it could be all along: extraordinary,